Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to make a super straightforward guide on how I have my settings for Delta Force. In the description, there's going to be timestamps so you guys can skip around to the parts that you need. And if you don't know anything about settings or graphics, that's fine, but just be aware, just because it works for me, it may not work for you and your system, right? It's really dependent on what hardware you have in your computer. So with that being said though, let's just hop into the video. I'm just going to run through everything. All right, and to start it off, before we hop into game settings, we're gonna do some NVIDIA settings. So right click your desktop, and you should see this right here, NVIDIA Control Panel. If you don't, just use your search bar in the bottom left to search NVIDIA Control Panel. And of course you need an NVIDIA graphics card to do this. Under display, adjust desktop color settings. At the bottom here, there's going to be a thing called digital vibrance. If you're not aware of this, this is going to change your gaming experience. It's super simple. All it does is it increases the intensity of colors, which is called saturation. So your colors are just going to pop more. Default is going to be 50%. I usually have mine at 65 max. I do color corrections and design work. I'm a professional designer, and a 15% color boost is a lot. Anything above this, it's going to start looking a little too crazy in my opinion. This 15% boost is perfect. It makes things look so good. This is really important though. Please listen to this. This is a universal setting. You can't have it set to where if my game is on, then this is on. It's just a universal system setting. So when you close your game down, if you also work on your computer, if you do color correction, editing, things like that, it's going to stay at 65%, which means your colors are going to be inaccurate. So just remember to turn this back down to 50% when you're done gaming. And then manage 3D settings. We'll go through this. So this is going to be under 3D settings and manage 3D settings. So I'm just going to scroll through this, and if you guys want to copy this or just take a look at what I have set, feel free to pause the video, okay? Resolution, you're going to want to make sure your main monitor is set. I have a 3 monitor setup, so you're going to want to make sure this is your gaming monitor selected, and then whatever resolution you play at, and then make sure you're getting the maximum refresh rate out of your monitor right here, okay? So this is something that's really important. You want to make sure you're on your maximum refresh rate. Okay, so now we're going to do Delta Force settings. So I'm just going to run through this stuff, and you guys can feel free to pause the video when you need it. So starting off, game combat. I'm pretty sure this is all default, but this is what I have here. Hit color is good for operations. I don't think it's that important in warfare. This is really good for like BRs and extraction shooters to give yourself an indicator when to push, or if you made a hit with your shot. Yellow and teal are really good colors because they stand out against the player models and the environment. All of this system stuff right here is just set to default. I'm pretty sure. I don't really play operations. Mouse sensitivity. So I did a video on this already. I'll put it on screen right now. It talks about aim and recoil and stuff, but I'll just run through it again on here real briefly. I like 2.4 general sense. I play on 800 DPI, and then my vertical sensitivity I like a bit higher at 1.1. With vertical recoil, you have to pull down less since it's a higher number, so everything else at 1. And then I like my red dots and iron sights to be at 0.9, which means it's a little bit slower when I'm aiming down sights. It just gets rid of that shakiness sometimes. So 7 to 8 also as well, I like at 0.9. Monitor distance coefficient, this is kind of like a value that's determined off of your monitor size. I play 27 and 1440p, and if you do also put it at 1.78. Transition mode, ADS, transition, and then all this stuff just off. And I don't really use vehicles, so unfortunately, sorry, I don't play vehicles, so I don't have any settings for that. Here are my keybinds. I think the only stuff that really is unique about my keybinds, I'll go through them. I like crouch on hold. I use C with my thumb. I don't have dive bound because I feel like it's just a bad mechanic. I'm not interested in it. Prone, I have on control. Jump and mantle are on the same bind, and I will say a lot of games that I play, I have a dedicated bind for jump and a dedicated bind for mantle. If you ever run into problems where you're spamming your spacebar trying to mantle or whatever, try isolating your binds. I would put jump on spacebar and mantle on V. Lean on Q and E. If you don't play with lean on hold, get in the hobby of putting it on hold. Having to press the lean button twice is gonna slow you down and make things feel clunky. You're gonna have to develop the muscle memory of spamming your middle finger and index finger for that Q and E. Just hop into the range and get used to it. Learn it now. It'll make future games easier and it will make you a better player. I have aim on hold. I rebind reload to mouse forward instead of R. A lot of people make fun of me for that one, but it is what it is. What else in here is different? I like my melee weapon on 3. Firing mode. Yeah, I mean, everything else is pretty like straightforward. So yeah, let's hop into screen interaction. I'm pretty sure this stuff is all default actually. I'm just gonna scroll through this. And then vehicle, I don't play vehicle, so we're gonna skip this. Sorry guys. Controller, we're also gonna skip. I don't play controller anymore. Sorry guys. Used to play controller growing up. Performance parameters, this just shows your network stats, latency, packet loss, ping, yada yada. If you want them on, you can put them on. They'll show at the top. All of this stuff is pretty much default. Minimap. So in respawn shooters, I like my minimap on rotate. But if I'm playing like large scale, like BR, Arma, PUBG, whatever, I like my minimap always pointing true north for better comms. But in respawn shooters where your life doesn't really matter and things are just hectic and you're constantly responding, I like my minimap on rotate, because then all I need to do is glance, and it's a bit more logical for my brain to look at the minimap and be like, left is there, right is to my right. So you know, and plus in respawn shooters, north and east and west, those comms don't really matter. So I like my rotating perspective on. I dropped my minimap size down to 60-meter radius or diameter, is it? I'm not even sure if it's radius or diameter. I have it on 60 meters because in a respawn shooter like warfare mode, the only time I'm looking at the minimap is before I make a push or I cross or rotate to a new part of the map. So I just need immediate info in the close area where my player is. Anything beyond 60 meters, I can scan with my eyeballs, I can understand my team positioning and know what's happening at the greater distance. I'm more concerned about what's the immediate threat in my area. So that's why I have this way down to 60 meters. And then I have my icon scale right here to 94% boosted. I have that boosted up quite a bit because I just want to be able to, boom, look at my mini map and see, is this a friendly icon next to me or is there no one next to me? And having the icons a bit bigger helps with that more immediate, easy to read mini map for me. So that's why I have this set up like that. Graphics, so this is like probably why most of you guys clicked on the video. We're just gonna run through this. So everything right here is just on auto. I play 1440p, so I have this hard set to 1440p. Brightness, I have maxed out, boom, always. In match FPS, 165, that's the max of my monitor anyways, and so there's no point of just putting unlimited. I don't wanna make my system work harder than it needs to. So out of match FPS cap, so this is like your lobby, your firing range. I have it on 60. I like to just give my system a break. I treat my computer very nice, so I don't want him working hard when he doesn't need to, so I put it on 60, let him get a break in between matches. Back end cap, so this is like if you minimize your game, alt tab, whatever, you don't need to be getting good frames. You could even put it on 5 or 1 if you want. And then sharpness, I like 80%. I like my game looking nice and crispy. Both of these, VSync and NVIDIA fast sync off and off. FOV, so I used to play 120 in this game for the longest time, and then I switched to like 110 at the start of the first season, and then more recently I even dropped it even lower to 105. And a lot of people just think the more FOV the better, and that's not true at all. There's logic behind what you want to use your FOV for. So FOV doesn't literally increase your view distance, it's all an illusion. It's warping your screen more. So the higher your FOV is, the more your screen is going to be warped. And how that works is if the center of your screen is right here, I'm trying to look at my camera so you guys can get an understanding. If the center of my screen is here, the higher my FOV, the deeper and further away the center of my screen is going to appear. So that's why you get this wide field of view, because you're stretching the center point of your monitor deeper. Obviously it's a flat surface, right? But you're going deeper into the monitor. And what this does is it makes the center of your monitor smaller. So you're literally nerfing yourself by making the enemies smaller, because when you're aiming, your enemy is going to be center where your reticle is. When you're aiming down the sight, your reticle is the center of your screen. When you're aiming on an enemy, they are literally going to be a smaller pixel than they were if you had a lower FOV. So an FOV at 100, the enemy is going to appear bigger in the center of your screen. FOV at 120, your enemy is going to appear way smaller in the center of the screen. So it essentially means you have to be more accurate. So you're nerfing yourself in that way, and you're trading visibility. So you get to see more, but your enemy is going to be smaller. So just keep that in mind. If this is all confusing to you, if you're starting with FPS games, I would recommend an FOV of 95 to 105. Okay, give that a try. If you feel like you want a little more, bump it up to 110. If you want to juice it at 120, go for it. Also, another thing, if you play at 120, you're gonna get worse frames because you're forcing your graphics card to display more visual information on your screen, so your system's gonna work harder. It may be a small amount of frame loss, but it's a frame loss. And then another thing, so if you play 120 FOV when you're sprinting, it's going to feel faster due to the illusion that your center is further away. So it's all perspective, but there's a lot about FOV that a lot of people don't understand. So anyways, if you're new, I would recommend 95 to 105. That's a great starting point. Weapon motion blur off. Everything in here, put it on low and off, low and off, low and off, off, low, 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 all of it, okay? Next up, render scale 100. Depth of field off, and then again, everything low except for textures, medium or high, okay? I like a little nice little gun skin, gun model texture, okay? So medium or high on the textures there. It's very nice. Everything else low, doesn't matter. I like DLSS. I usually always have DLSS on. If a game offers DLSS, I'm pumping it, I don't care. So, and then I actually don't like ultra performance. I think ultra performance looks really bad in this game. Fuzzy, blurry, no, not good. Performance actually is pretty good, so I like that. I run performance. Yeah, frame gen, that's like for the 40 series. I don't have frame gen. And then off on the low latency, and yeah, FSR, I just have off. Audio, pretty straightforward. I like my master volume at 70. This game's very loud, so just put it at 70 and then you can adjust. You know, I have a mix amp right here, so I adjust the volume on there. But yeah, master volume at 70. HRTF, this is like 3D audio simulation. This is also in PUBG, and I don't like it in PUBG, so I have it off in this game as well. Music, turned it off. Sound effects UI at 100, and voice volume at 26%. So that's basically my setting guides. Hopefully this video helped, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or want anything else explained, or if you have any things to share. Hopefully it helped, and catch you guys in the next video. Peace.